Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Not Another Teacher podcast. I am your host, Martin Malone, and we are going to focus on sleep today. Now, sleep is one massively neglected by the teaching community, and that is simply because you give so many hours to the classroom, so many hours to those little projects outside the school that you barely have time to do anything else, never mind sleep. Yet, if we can get you in a better routine with sleep, if we can get you to a place where you are having 8 hours a day, and yes, you need 8 hours a day, like the amount of nonsense you hear about people being on 6 is madness. But if we get you to a place where you're consistently having 8 hours a day, we are getting you that good REM sleep, which is the deep sleep where you are having dreams. Like that is going to provide so much energy to you, so much clarity for you, and you aren't going to turn up to the classroom like a bit of a zombie, which I used to before I started looking at my health. So this podcast is going to be massive, and I mean massive. I will say we're only going to slightly glimpse on stuff here like supplements and sleep and everything that way. I have some amazing trainings on this. And anyone who's struggling with their sleep, drop me a message on Instagram at the Teachers PT, and I will send you them to help you so that you can understand it a bit better. Because I think the more knowledge that's out there, the better. And it's only going to create better teachers, which is going to make the world go round better. And that helps me just so much. But yeah, sleep. So the big thing we've tackled already in this is you need 8 hours a day. You need 8 hours. But the trouble is, you have to work backwards from that. If you know you get up at 6 a.m., well, you need to go to bed at 10. And realistically, you need to be asleep at 10, which means you need to start winding down about 9:30. Now, I get up at 6:30, so I start winding down at 10 so that I am asleep by 10:30. Now, me doing this just helps me massively. And there's a couple of things that I have which I'm going to share with you today. So the first one is supplements. I'm not a big fan of supplements in general. I take magnesium to stop cramping. I love that. I take creatine. And that's pretty much it. Like the rest I get from fruit and veg and everywhere else. But one thing I do take religiously is ZMAs, which is zinc and magnesium tablets. I take them as well as my magnesium tablets. But the ZMAs help you sleep better. It gets you into that deeper sleep. They are amazing. And I recommend to anyone listening to this for you to try them. They will be game changing. Now, again, though, they're not going to be any use unless you're actually sleeping. So let's make sure that everything is set up for you to win. These iPads, these phones, all of that, they emit blue light. And blue light is a bit like sunlight. When your eyes catch a glimpse of it, it keeps you awake. It keeps you stimulated. And the trouble with that is if you fall asleep watching TV, you are stimulated the entire way and you don't drift off properly. So a big thing to do is to try and have 15, 20 minutes, even half an hour if you can at the end of the night without your phone, without the TV on, reading a book or listening to a podcast. I love doing this as it just settles me right down for the night. And full disclosure, the only thing I listen to at night, 10 o'clock till past, is Harry Potter. I go through the books one after the other and then I repeat back. Why? I know the story. I'm not on the edge of my seat and stimulated by it. I can just close my eyes, forget about the day, and take myself off to that world. I set the timer for 45 minutes an hour. I'm normally asleep within 5, but it doesn't matter because I know what's coming in the whole stories. Like I know it back to front. It helps me massively. And I think an audiobook or a book would help you too. Plus the beauty of getting rid of electronics for the last half an hour is it makes time go a lot faster. I get so much of my routine set up for the next day in that half an hour because I just don't have anything else to do. it is game changing that way. And it's going to give you the rest, recovery, and it's going to set you up for that win the next day. And I think the ultimate thing with sleep is thinking about the mentality with it. Because ultimately, when it comes to sleep, you have two choices put in front of you. You have the pleasure of staying up and watching your show, or you have the long-term happiness the next day of being well rested. And in the moment, that pleasure might seem tempting. But if you can stay strong and stick to your bedtime routines, then the next day is going to be so much better. And your happiness is going to be so much better, which then gets you in such a good routine that you never want it to stop. So, as I say, I've got loads of more detailed webinars on this, which I think will help massively. But the big thing that I want to hit home is that sleep is important just as much as your nutrition, just as much as your hydration, just as much as your training and your mindset. And people neglect it massively. But honestly, it is probably even more important than all of them. So take some time to work on your sleep. If you're not too sure how, drop me a DM so that we can get you focusing on it a bit more. Got loads of webinars I can send you to help. I'll chat to you and talk to you to get you to that place. And ultimately, I hope you've enjoyed this. There's been a few light bulb moments in this, like you help the kids with in your class. And yeah, catch you on the next episode.